The Great Sphinx of Giza stands without any contemporary inscription that identifies its builder or explains its purpose. In 1858, the French archaeologist Auguste Mariette discovered the Inventory Stela at Giza. Although the stele itself dates to the 26th dynasty, its text records events from the time of Pharaoh Khufu, builder of the Great Pyramid. The inscription states that Khufu found the Sphinx, called Horemakhet, and a temple dedicated to Isis already present when he reached the plateau. These monuments were already damaged by time and weather. Khufu ordered their restoration rather than their original construction. The stele lists the divine statues housed in the temple and makes explicit that the Sphinx and its associated structures existed before the pyramids were built. This single document directly overturns the standard historical claim that Pharaoh Khafra created the Sphinx around 2500 BCE and establishes that the monument predates the 4th dynasty by a significant margin. The absence of any Old Kingdom inscription claiming credit for the Sphinx further supports this earlier origin, as every other major monument at Giza carries clear royal dedications from the period of its supposed construction. No cartouche or dedication appears on the Sphinx itself, despite the fact that Egyptian builders routinely recorded such information on temples, statues, and pyramids. This complete silence on the monument's origin stands in direct contrast to the detailed records left for every other major structure on the plateau. The lack of builder identification is not an oversight, but a consistent feature that distinguishes the Sphinx from all other major constructions of the Old Kingdom. The stele's claim that Khufu found the structures already existing directly challenges the narrative that attributes the Sphinx to his successor Khafra. Geological study of the Sphinx enclosure supplies independent confirmation of greater age. The walls of the deep pit cut around the Sphinx body show pronounced vertical fissures and smoothly undulating channels. These formations result from sustained heavy rainfall and surface water runoff over long periods. Such erosion patterns do not match the wind and sand abrasion that has shaped the Giza Plateau throughout the dynastic era. The Sahara experienced its last extended phase of significant rainfall several thousand years before the Old Kingdom began. The geological record therefore requires that the core body of the Sphinx was carved from the bedrock, no later than 7000 BCE, and likely earlier. The monument originates from a civilization that possessed the organization and technical capacity to execute large-scale rock carving long before the emergence of dynastic Egypt. This earlier dating aligns with evidence from other structures on the plateau that also display signs of greater antiquity than traditionally assigned. The water erosion extends consistently across the enclosure walls and parts of the Sphinx body itself, indicating that the entire feature experienced prolonged exposure to wetter climatic conditions that ended thousands of years before the 4th dynasty. The consistent pattern of erosion across multiple surfaces demonstrates that the monument stood exposed for an extended period before the surrounding sand accumulated and preserved it. The depth and shape of the fissures further indicate repeated cycles of wetting and drying rather than occasional flooding, pointing to a sustained wetter climate over centuries. Robert Schocher's analysis of the enclosure walls showed that the erosion could only have been produced by precipitation over an extended period, not by sporadic events or wind action alone. Precision stonework at the Sphinx and the neighboring Sphinx temple reveals methods beyond conventional Bronze Age tools. Holes bored through hard granite display perfectly circular cross-sections and consistent diameters over their full depth. large flat surfaces maintain uniform planarity across areas of several square meters. These characteristics match the output of ultrasonic machining, a hardened tool vibrating at frequencies between 19,000 and 25,000 cycles per second, operated with an abrasive slurry, induces sympathetic resonance in the quartz crystals contained within granite. The resonance multiplies the rate of material removal while preserving geometric accuracy. Copper chisels and stone hammers cannot produce these results. The builders therefore commanded a sophisticated system of vibration, resonance, and controlled abrasion that modern engineering only replicated in the 20th century. Similar precision appears in other Giza monuments, indicating that ultrasonic-level technology was applied across the plateau, rather than limited to a single structure. The consistency of these features across multiple monuments demonstrates that the technology formed part of a standardized construction system, rather than an isolated achievement. This level of precision also appears in the fitting of massive limestone blocks in the Sphinx temple, where joints remain tight over thousands of years without the use of mortar. The absence of tool marks typical of copper chisels on these surfaces further supports the use of vibration-based methods that left minimal surface damage. Christopher Dunn's examination of tool marks on granite artifacts from Giza showed patterns consistent with high-frequency vibration, rather than conventional abrasion or percussion methods. The Giza Plateau functioned as a unified energy installation. The internal chambers of the pyramids and their massive granite structural elements were arranged to couple with the Earth's natural vibrational modes and telluric currents. Quartz within the granite acted as a piezoelectric medium that converted mechanical stress into electrical potential. The structures operated collectively as transducers that harvested ambient planetary energy, concentrated it, and directed it according to design. The Sphinx occupied the central position within this system. Its elongated body, the geometry of the surrounding enclosure, and its precise east-west orientation allowed it to interact with the fundamental resonant frequency of the Earth, known as the Schumann resonance near 7.83 Hz. The monument served as frequency anchor and stabilizer. It maintained coherent energy distribution across the entire complex. The civilization responsible for the original carving understood how to locate, amplify, and apply this unknown power source through principles of harmonic resonance. This energy system likely powered advanced tools, supported large-scale construction, and possibly served additional functions related to communication or environmental stabilization. The Sphinx's position and form were not decorative, but essential to maintaining the operational integrity of the entire energy network. The enclosure around the Sphinx further enhanced this function by creating a resonant cavity that focused vibrational energy at the monument's base. The placement of the Sphinx at the eastern edge of the plateau positioned it to receive the first light of the rising sun, potentially aligning the energy system with daily solar cycles as well as planetary resonance. The combination of the Sphinx's form and the surrounding architecture created a system capable of both harvesting and directing energy with precision. Directly beneath the pores of the Sphinx lies a concealed archive. Ancient accounts identify this repository as the Hall of Records. Integrated seismic refraction and reflection surveys conducted across the Sphinx enclosure in 1992 and 1993 mapped a distinct low-velocity zone. The anomaly forms a rectangular volume approximately 9 meters wide by 12 meters long and lies at shallow depth beneath the enclosure floor. Follow-up analyses of the seismic data reveal internal subdivisions within the volume that are consistent with engineered resonant chambers. These subdivisions would permit selective amplification of specific acoustic and vibrational frequencies. The archive therefore functioned as both a storage facility for recorded knowledge and an active technological installation designed to interface with the energy system anchored by the Sphinx. In the 1920s, a British expedition entered previously undocumented tunnels beneath the right paw. Participants recorded the presence of multiple chambers and noted a persistent low-frequency humming that matched the rhythmic character of planetary resonance. Egyptian authorities ordered the tunnels closed and removed the expedition documentation from accessible archives. The resonant design of the chamber complex suggests it was intended not merely for passive storage, but for active reactivation of the technologies it preserved. The humming reported by the expedition indicates that some form of vibrational activity may have remained functional even after thousands of years. The location of the anomaly directly matches ancient descriptions of the archive's entrance near the right paw. The internal structure of the chamber, as indicated by seismic data, suggests it was designed to respond to specific frequencies that could be used to locate or activate its contents. The 1993 seismic results showed clear boundaries consistent with man-made construction, rather than natural geological features. Institutional control over further investigation has remained consistent. The Sphinx Temple, which exhibits the same high-precision stonework seen on the Sphinx itself and contains indications of vertical shafts, has been closed to independent researchers for prolonged intervals. Seismic anomalies identified beneath the enclosure have been noted in published reports, yet never advanced to systematic excavation. Researchers who publish findings that support an older origin or advanced technological capability encounter systematic obstacles. Permit applications are delayed or denied. Institutional funding is withdrawn. Public statements from senior Egyptian antiquities officials routinely dismiss alternative interpretations without examination of the supporting data. These repeated patterns demonstrate coordinated restriction of information that would confirm the existence of a technologically advanced civilization at Giza prior to the Fourth Dynasty. The consistent suppression prevents independent verification of the energy system, the archive, and the true age of the Sphinx. This control extends to limiting access to primary documents and restricting geophysical work that could map additional subsurface features. The pattern of restriction has continued across multiple decades and multiple administrations, indicating a long-term policy rather than isolated decisions. Similar restrictions have affected access to other potentially related sites on the plateau, creating a broader pattern of information control. Researchers such as Robert Schoch and Christopher Dunn have faced public dismissal and restricted access despite presenting measurable geological and engineering evidence. The Inventory Stela contains a deliberately constructed numerical and geometric code. Measurements of the stele's overall proportions, the spacing of its textual divisions, and specific numerical values appearing within the inscription correspond with high accuracy to the physical dimensions of the subsurface anomaly mapped by seismic survey. The same numerical set aligns with the value of the Schumann resonance and with the angular relationships between the Sphinx, the three main pyramids, and the stars of Orion's belt during the epoch when the Sphinx was originally carved. This encoding was not accidental. It was placed in the stele to preserve exact locational and functional data across thousands of years. The original Sphinx was carved as a complete recumbent lion, the traditional symbol of solar guardianship associated with the Zep Tepi, or first time. Subsequent modification changed only the head to human form, while the body proportions and the encoded information in the later inscription remained unaltered. The numerical relationships function as a self-contained transmission system that requires no external key once the correct geometric and resonant principles are understood. The encoding links physical location, dimensional data, resonant frequency, and astronomical alignment into a single coherent message that survives in the stone itself. The code was designed to be decipherable by any civilization that developed sufficient understanding of vibration, geometry, and astronomy. The placement of the numerical values within the text follows patterns consistent with sacred geometry used in other ancient structures, suggesting the encoding followed established principles of the original builders. The lion form of the original Sphinx reinforced its role as guardian of both solar power and terrestrial energy fields, while the numerical code preserved the technical instructions for reactivation. The secret purpose of the Sphinx was to operate as the central frequency anchor for a planetary-scale energy system while simultaneously protecting a technological archive. Its builders designed the monument and enclosure to couple directly with the Earth's resonant energy fields, and to maintain stable distribution of that energy across the Giza complex. They located beneath the monument a chamber complex engineered to store and, when required, to reactivate the knowledge of harmonic power generation and ultrasonic stoneworking. The numerical and geometric code embedded in the Inventory Stela transmitted the precise coordinates, dimensions, and activation parameters of the archive. The Sphinx was therefore constructed as a permanent installation intended to survive global cataclysms and to deliver functional instructions to a future civilization capable of interpreting the encoded data. The monument represents both an operational component of an advanced energy technology and a deliberate mechanism for the long-term transmission of that technology across time. The encoded instructions ensure that any future group able to decode the numerical relationships will locate the archive, understand its resonant design, and restore the power system that the Sphinx was built to protect and anchor. This transmission of knowledge across millennia demonstrates a level of planning and technological foresight that exceeds the capabilities recorded in conventional ancient history. The Sphinx therefore stands as both a surviving machine and a message carrier designed to reactivate that machine when the proper understanding returns. The combination of physical engineering, numerical encoding, and resonant architecture creates a self-sustaining system that has preserved its core function through thousands of years of environmental change and historical suppression. The original lion form further reinforces the monument's role as guardian of solar and terrestrial power, while the later recarving preserved the essential data within the numerical structure. The entire installation was engineered for endurance and eventual reactivation, rather than for a single historical period. The system was designed with multiple layers of redundancy, so that even partial understanding of the code would lead investigators to the physical location of the archive. This approach ensured that the knowledge could survive even if portions of the inscription were damaged or misinterpreted over time. The Sphinx and its encoded message together form a complete technological and informational package intended to outlast the civilization that created it and to restore its capabilities when humanity again developed the necessary understanding of resonance, geometry, and energy.